Merry meet guys, welcome back to my channel. This video I wanted to do a video response to a question that was asked on my first episode of my Book Witch series um, by John the Verbose. I will post his question and a link to his channel if you guys are interested in subscribing to him. Um, one second. He has some really cool stuff, but he asked me, and I had my music playing on my phone, so if it's too loud, I apologize. But he asked me when I did my first Book Witch series on the secrets of shamanism, he said, "Hey Houston, I am curious about your guides that you mentioned. When you began developing your spiritual relationship with your guides, did they first reveal themselves to you, or did you seek out specific spirits/ancestors?" It's like, I'm going to read the whole thing. "I am much of a druid than anything, though I am curious about shamanism. I am fortunate that my boyfriend is a shaman, and I have a rudimentary understanding of his perspective and experiences." Um, sorry, that was my phone going off. So, speaking about how I first started, how my guides revealed themselves to me, um, it varies on person to person, how guides reveal themselves to each and every one. But for me, they didn't. There's only a few that popped out. Others I had to seek. Some of the few that popped out for me is when I first started my practice, started studying Wicca, and learned about animal totems, and really connected with the practices of shamanism. Um, all of a sudden, the animal, the wolf, popped out and everything. I saw it in images, I saw it in statuary, I saw everywhere I looked there was wolf things that just caught my eye. And, I didn't really understand it. In the beginning, I didn't understand. And so I was like, okay, so the wolf apparently has, there's a connection. I was studying spirit animals and power animals, and, I did ask. There was a prayer that I did to call on my spirit animal when I first started, just so I know who I could work with in, like a familiar sense. And the wolf popped up, blatantly popped up. Like I said, he was everywhere, and he's still one of my main guides. Um, and it's funny, when because on this path of paganism, you get into this is kind of like a train of thought kind of video, but you get into a way of thinking that sometimes maybe what you believe in sometimes either it doesn't work out, like spells don't work, or your rituals aren't working, or just everything. Sometimes it's just bad things happen, and it makes you doubt your practice. And everything that I doubted, my wolf was always there. He was always there with me through the dark times of teenage years and depression and things like that. As many others, when I accepted him into my path, he opened the doorway to many, sorry, um, many different spiritual guides. From Wolf, I met Otter, who I work with now. She's a beautiful, beautiful creature, and beautiful energy to work with. I work with a myriad of spirits. I don't. I don't know if you would consider that necromancy or not. I mean, I work with my ancestors. I work with angels. I work with different deities. I don't have a named matron and patron. I go of the goddess of the moon or the goddess of witchcraft, the horn god or the god of the forest or the god of witchcraft. It depends on the situation. You know, sometimes I will call a particular name of a deity that I have worked with or I've gained a relationship with. I'm not. I will not, and I don't work with someone or some spirit that I have not done research on. I always advise that if you're interested in learning or working with a particular spirit, whether it be angelic, out of the Necronomicon Grimoire, or a deity, or of any sort of religion, or sort of practice, I always recommend, and I do this myself, is to research. The better you know the deity, the more stronger connection you can make, because when you're researching, at least in my experience, when you're researching that deity, that calls to that deity's attention. It's like, hey, this person is researching more about me. You know, I'll open up a little bit to help them understand me a little bit better. Sorry, I lit some Palo Santo incense behind me, and it's a little bit strong. But in my experiences with deities and spirits and animals, starting to research their habits, how, you know, what characteristics they incorporate as a deity or a spirit, opens a doorway for you to build a relationship with them. So back to, I'm going to start off with, like I said, my animal guides, because that's really who I started off with, was learning about my animal guides. And then I went to working with different deities, then working with different angels, and then working with different spirit beings. And I'll talk about all that in this video. This may be a long, rambly video, but please bear with me if you're interested in how I connect. My magic is not by the book, I guess you could say. There are some things that I do by the book, but more than not, all my stuff is impromptu, spontaneous work, where I call on and invoke or invoke different spirit entities, and channel their magic through me to bring about or manifest a particular desire. So, working with the animals in nature, how I found out that I have more than one animal energy that watches over me. And everyone, I believe, has at least one spirit animal, like one guardian angel or a deity that looks after them, or even a spirit, or you know, you have a guarding force, I believe, from when you were born to when you die, and they help you in the afterlife. That spirit can be in animal form, that spirit can be in human form, that spirit can be in angel form, demon form, whatever form that it feels that you're comfortable with. It will appear itself to you, you know, it will show itself to you. And for me, when I first started, animals were, I guess you could say, safe. I wouldn't, even though the wolf by any means can be a ferocious animal. But for me, he embodied the wisdom of a teacher, the wisdom of a young soul. When I first met him, the spirit, how I know him, and how I worked with him, and how I work with him, he is very playful. He is serious at times, kind of like an older brother. It's just it's really hard to explain if you don't work with spirits, you know, of the land, or work with spirits in general. And it's really weird because by sign, I'm an earth witch, and I like materialistic stuff, and I like working with stuff in front of me, but my others, I don't even go by my other, well, I kind of do. Please just bear with me. I'm trying to get all my thoughts and process, and I have a lot to talk about in this video. But my other sign is fire. But I also embody the other two elements as well, air and water. And when I work with spirits, I embody water the most, because I'm working with the unknown and increasing my psychic ability, and kind of shifting my energies to meld with these spirits, because I don't call on them in petition. Um, I don't like to demand for things. I'll ask for help, but I'm not going to just sit by and let them do all the work. That's just not how magic works. Um, that's not how magic works for me. Um, I kind of bring their essence into myself, so I transform my energy to be more aligned out with them, so I can make a change in my daily life. So with Wolf, I met Otter, and how I met her was we, me and a friend were um, doing a photo shoot. I'm a photographer, so me and her were in photo school together, and she was driving, and we were coming back from one of the local reservation parks here in Charleston. I think Charlestown Landing or something like that, where they actually had, different animals, and you could take pictures of wildlife. Because then I was a huge proponent of using my telephoto lens and just capturing really close images of like squirrels and birds and just all wildlife in general. But I was, I just felt really lively, and I didn't feel that way. That was I had an energetic spark that I didn't have in a long time. So I looked out the window. It was bored. We were stuck in traffic for a while on the way back to our apartment, and I was thinking, I was like, I wonder if I have more than one spirit animal, because I was still, I'm still studying hardcore, and I was reading Animal Speak, and it just popped in my mind. He's like, because in the book it says you can have as many as you please, and so I was like, I wonder if there's another animal looking after me. And then a cloud caught my eye, and it was shaped like an otter on its back, having its hands up and curled up like it was sleeping. And I was like, that's odd. Um, and then so I notated that in my journal, and I meditated on it, and nothing came about it that night. I didn't get anything. But then we had a group meditation with one of the circles here. They did a group meditation of water and energy transformation with the goddess Danu of the Celtic pantheon. And in this meditation, you were to dive into the river of healing and transformation and find a gift to bring back to you. And while I dived in the water, um, Otter swam up beside me and swam with me the entire meditation. And I was, you know, playing with her in the water, and we were having a good old time. And at the point where, in the meditation at the end, where you were supposed to find a gift, a spiritual gift to bring back with you on the material plane, Otter dove into. I was sitting on a rock, and she was just lazily swimming down. She dove into the water and brought out this huge chunk of rose quartz, and she presented it to me. She's like, this is my gift to you." She's like, "This will remind you of me. Love and compassion, friendship, everything that has to do with the heart." So I brought that back with me. And I have a huge piece of rose quartzes on my altar that I have for her. I have an otter necklace. Um, so yeah, those are two accounts. There's so many more. I'm going to go and do as many as I can without talking on for about an hour. Um, the next animal spirit guides that I'm going to talk about two at a time, that I found that one is a part of my family. It's a family totem that's over all my whole family, and so I connect with it very well. It's actually, they both over my family. It's the deer, the doe, and it's the doe and the stag. So it's the female deer and then the male. And I found out that they are the kind of embodiment of protection of my family, where the doe is unconditional love and kindness, where the stag can be fierce, territorial, very protective, very masculine energy, as the doe is more feminine energy, and is seen as the goddess. The doe is seen as the goddess, and the stag as the god. So those represent my medicine wheel. Um, I don't know if this makes any sense at all. I'm just babbling on. In my theory, the medicine wheel that I carry has 9 totem animals. So you have one for yourself, um, which is me for is wolf. Then you have north, south, east, and west, the guardians of animal guardians of those directions. You have above, below, left, and right. Those are 9. So your left and right represent the god and the goddess. Your left is the goddess, and your right is the god. So my left is the doe, right is the stag. Water is my otter. He is, he's with me for she is with me for the element of water. I have dog, who is the element of air. No, no, hold on. I have this written down somewhere. I think dog is either. I know it's not earth, and I don't believe it's air, and I don't think it's fire. So it's not one of the elements. I think it may be below, representing like my eagerness to find information, loyalty, and my shadow self. Um, so I think that's what dog is, or that's spider. But yeah, those are I have so who I work with and who are with me is wolf, otter, doe, stag, dog, and spider. I think spider's my shadow self because I don't like spiders, but he is very prominent. Very prominent when I get into a creative bust. I see him everywhere, and in my dreams, and in almost very nightmarish. So I do think he represents my shadow self. Now, as for deities, I did talk about and how I connect with spirit video, which I'll post below in the comment section or in the description section. I'll post that video. But I did talk about how I connected with my first pair of deities, which was Nana and Ada, which is Elvish for mother and father. Nana meaning mother, Ada meaning father, and they were Gaia and the Green Man. Um, and they're always with me. I feel their energy when I call on them. I know they're always watching me, but I don't. Work with them as much as I used to. I guess that's how you can put it. There's a lot of other deities that I do work with and have worked with. I've connected with deities from different pantheons, depending on what outcome I needed or what desire I needed to manifest. I made a relationship first before I asked them for assistance. So how I made a relationship was I went out and sought information on the particular deity. At one time, I worked with Horus, the Egyptian god of uh, protection, of the sun and the moon, the son of Osiris and Isis. I was about to say that wrong. I was about to say the goddess of rainbows. Um, and the defeater of Set. I'm not too big on Egyptian pantheon or Egyptian folklore, but Horus, for some reason, um, and the Eye of Horus really stuck with me, and he really helped me through some times that I needed his protection. But how I made a connection with him is I studied up on him. I meditated, and in my meditation, I journeyed to meet him, and we talked. We had a dialogue, and we built a connection through that way. Um, a lot of times, deities or spirits will pop into my head, like if I'm in the shower and just cleansing and not really thinking of a particular situation, or not thinking of anything, and all of a sudden I'll see an image of a particular god or goddess, or a fairy spirit, or an angel, or whatever, with some wisdom or advice, or just having that picture, and it just kind of their energy just kind of washes over me. And so when that happens, which did happen to me, it happened to me a lot. But the first time it ever happened, it was with the same time I was working with Horus. Athena popped into my head, and I did more research on her. I built a connection with her, and with her and Horus's help, I got through the tough time, um, a tough time in my spiritual life and in my physical life. Um, that I needed their protection and wisdom. Um, this is a long video. I apologize. Now, as for angels, I feel that everyone can call on angels. They are non-religious. Angels were around way before Christianity ever took their name, I guess you could say. Um, Even though there's a lot of biblical references to angels, they are used. They're used by many spiritualists. Um, a lot. They're used also a lot in hoodoo with the saints. Um, I use or I work with. I don't like saying use. It's like they're a tool. They're not a tool. They're much. Spirits are much more than a tool. They're consciousnesses. Blah. They are a form of living spiritual being, I guess you could say, or light being, or energy being. Ha, that's the term. So, um, so when I work with angels, sorry, bed doesn't do much for my back. When I work with angels, like I showed you in my last video, I got a statue of Archangel Michael. I work with Michael for protection purposes, and also I work with him when I do psychic readings, when I'm not using cards, when I'm doing off of psychic impressions alone. I call for his assistance. I also call for his assistance plus the other archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel. I haven't started working with Chamuel, Jophiel, or Ezekiel. Ezekiel. I haven't started working with them, but I'm learning about them in my angel therapy class. I haven't started working with those three yet, but the elemental four, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. I have worked with those, doing the Lesser Banishment Ritual of the Pentagram. They are called on in there. I also work with them for different healing situations, like when I do a Reiki session. I will call on the angels, the archangels, or angels of healing to help me and assist me heal whoever it is, either it be myself or someone else, or cleanse a property or charge an item. They have thousands upon thousands of ways they can help you, and they'll never say no, unless you're trying to do something stupid. Like if you want to ask them to help you rob a bank or commit suicide, they're never gonna say no to you. They're not gonna help you do something stupid. Or something bad. I shouldn't say stupid. I apologize. But I digress. They're not going to, like I said, they're not going to help you do anything that's going to hurt yourself or hurt others. They will help you if you need help being protected or healing or need insight, but they're also not going to tell you what to do. They'll help you open doorways to see your possibilities on a certain situation, but the angels are big believers in free will. So they're not going to tell you what you should and shouldn't do. They will show you outcomes depending on your situation or choice that branches off, but it's up to you and up to me or up to whoever to choose what branch you take and take full responsibility of it. So that's how I work with the angels. How I met and started working with the angels. I've always been. I didn't grow up Catholic, but when I started researching hoodoo, and when I started researching ceremonial magic, and they called on the angels for a protection ritual, I was like, this would be kind of cool. It doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It actually really enlightened my practice. So I was like, why not add them to my practice? And that's the beautiful thing about my spiritual practice is I'm always adding stuff to it, taking it away because or taking stuff away because I'm always growing. So yeah, that is how I came in contact or made connections with spirit. Um, if you want me to talk in more detail about a particular spirit, or I know I did not cover being a spirit keeper, which is part of my craft as well. If you want to know more information about that, of what being a spirit keeper means, um, please comment below, and I'll be more than happy to do a video. I know I did a video on the Witches of the Moon channel about being a spirit keeper, and I said I was going to do it on my personal channel, but I forgot. So if you want me to really make a video on spirit keeping and how it helps me in my practice, what it is, what's the essentials of it, and if it's positive or negative, and how you can find out more information about it, leave me a link below. If you want to know more information on the angels, or on how to connect with different deities, um, or different spirit beings, like elves and fairies and dragons and things like that, if that's what you believe. Or if you want help how to connect with angels. Um, the biggest component to working with spirits is you have to believe in the spirits you're working with. So with that, I'm going to put that as my final words for this video. This video has gotten a little bit lengthy, and I apologize. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said, if you have any questions or want to know more information about how I practice, or anything of the sort, please leave it in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Many blessings.